please take your time and explain it from scratch. What is the unified field theory of Einstein?
Okay. Well, it begins where we first have to agree that at the root of everything is a mystery. So at the root of everything is a mystery. And even science, Edward Witten, who coined the
String
term
theory.
M theory, M theory, he said M stands for any of these: mystery, miracle, manifestation, and you can use those how you see fit when you're talking about M theory. So Einstein says, at the root of everything is this mystery, but what brings this all to life is what he calls compassion, with a capital C. And everything in this theory has its very unchangeable definitions, right? We all think compassion of love, this and that. No, these are very specific scientific definitions, and compassion is the fifth fundamental force of the universe. And it's the intelligence that uses the four fundamental forces to create the matter, the physical world.
The four fundamental forces:
electromagnetics,
electromagnetic
gravity,
force, gravity,
strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear force.
force.
So electromagnetics, of course, ignites things. Gravity is like a guiding thing. Strong nuclear force is like repelling and attracting movement. And the weak nuclear force is transformation, like when something turns from red to green or 1 to 2, the transforming force. So in compassion, with the capital C, is the intelligence that uses these forces to impel the creation of the physical world one step at a time. So out of nothing, out of absolutely nothing, the 0 point, it's compassion, and it has 3 influences on this that you are measurable. Okay. One is that it impels energy to step out of nothing and into everything and create a membrane domain that he calls a compilation of consciousness. So this membrane domain surrounds all the mathematics that's going to be you, and gives it a boundary, so to speak, but you still have the whole universe within there. But it's all about your mathematics. What DNA, space-time body, what latitude, what longitude, what time, space, all that stuff that eventually makes up this physical world.
At a certain dimension.
Yeah. So that the compass, the root of compassion, is like a compass that draws circles, right? So that's the influence compassion has. It makes energy draw these circles. The second thing it does is the compass that aligns us to true north. When you have a compass, you work with the compass, and you're always aligned to true north, whatever that is. Compassion takes these compilations and aligns them to the true north of the earth, so that we're all on the same map. You're going to be on the same map. I'm going to be on the same map. And it's actually 0 degrees is true north. If you look at a compass, the top is 0 degrees. So we're 0 degrees of separation from compassion. That's what we're made up of. And the third thing compassion does, it infuses all of the fractals with all of the truth that we're really just one being. So we know
absolutely
that. So that's what compassion does. It starts the impelling into this compilation, and then you have all of the Barbara With and all the stuff, and then the chair and everything. So the next step, this is one step at a time. The next step is when these create subsets. They start to, everything's starting to pull apart. So then it's either the weak nuclear force transforming from 1 to 2. And this is me and my body, and this is the outer world. And then the 2 of them go through one more transformation, so there's 3, and there's me and my body, the outer world, and then the part of me that can see both. And that's what Einstein calls the human intention, is that it starts this intention to intentionally create that you're going to be a human being. And from here, from this, and by the way, the source of all of this is in the center of the planet. The Earth is like the center of the Earth operates like a black hole.
Okay.
And
But this is with respect to our planet. Then let's say there is another planet, then it becomes.
Well, let's save that question for later, because you'll see why.
You continue. Yeah.
But just, let's do the thought experiment. I just saw Brian Greene last couple months ago talk about how there is a smaller black holes, not just the big ones out there, but and that he believes it's in the center of the Earth has that quality. I just heard him say that, so that's another validation. But anyway, so from this compilation, there's a gravitational wave that leaves the center of the planet, the source, and it's carrying everything it's needed to go to the surface of the planet, where when it gets through all those levels of subtle bodies, and then it gets to the physical body, then you have the lens. And that's where the body is the projector and the perceiver of all of that math that's programmed in the source to create, right? We are the projectors of it and the perceivers of it. And the gravitational wave continues on into space. And because this is the microcosm and the macrocosm, this is the structure of our compilation, as well as the structure of the Earth. That literally there's a part of our gravitational wave that is coming through the entirety of the planet and helping to create it, goes back into the heavens, hooks up with the electromagnetic field of the Earth, comes back down along the North Pole, back to the center of the Earth, and it spins again. And it spins, and that's the spinning string that they're talking about. And it's spinning at the speed of light squared. Spinning at the speed of light squared. Now, what makes us human is that this reflection of these three in here, there's a part of us out in outer space, out on the edge of the electromagnetic field, called the observer, and then the lens. And this is what he calls the mechanism of this human intention, that the lens serves to kind of comes like a prism. It comes down over that speed of light squared string, and it slows it down to the speed of light, where it separates out, and now it's all manifesting. And so when our bodies die, that mechanism obviously sort of folds back up, but the string is still spinning, which is why when Einstein wants to speak through me, we can just get our strings together, and I can get out of the way and let that flow come through.
That frequency should match.
Yeah, there's some however it's done, I don't know. But so the last part of all this that I just want to drop in is, because this is really the part we work with on a practical level, is that from the source, gravitational wave, to the lens, is this non-physical world where we work with the three human dimensions. So the first level off of the gravitational, out of the chute, is emotion. And that then evolves up into the level of intuition. And then that gets up into the level of intellect. And by the time you're there, everything's getting ready to pull into form. And it's these three human dimensions that are conflicted right now in humanity. They have a way that they work together. They have a purpose that they serve, just like your heart does one thing and your kidneys do another. Your emotion is meant to do one thing, intellect is meant to do another, intuition, and they all work together. They're like an engine that works. And it's very broken right now because people are not listening. Intuition being the voice, the sound of compassion. The sound of compassion telling us the next most advantageous step for the good of the whole of this manifestation and of this math. And then it gets to the intellect, where the ego is, and the ego's been given the free will to be able to say, no, I don't want to do all that. I'm going to go do this. And here we all are. So
Fighting each other.
Fighting. And Einstein says that between the intuition, which is always going to tell us the next most advantageous step for the big picture, of course, that our intellect can't see, between those two, that relationship between intellect and intuition is where all the conflict in the world originate. Because if that was fixed, and people, this is what we're doing with conflict revolution, we go in to learn where that's malfunctioning and what to do to right that. And when you start becoming this intuitive person who is committed to working for the good of the whole, starting with myself, like, don't let my mind get control. I mean, that's as simple as that. That's the good of the whole. And then also understanding the importance that we're all one body and we have to work for the good of the whole, to be whole ourselves. So you're working in a new collaborative way, and so that's the unified field theory. And
like, I wanted to ask, what do other scientists say about this? Like, can it be drawn out mathematically so that it makes sense at that level, or is it at a philosophical level?
I think it's like your friend who couldn't channel the other guy's language.
Exactly, yeah. Because
I
of
don't
the
channel
limitation of the channel. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
channel the math.
Yeah.
But what he says is that that this theory should spark the mathematicians.
If you liked the video, check out this next and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you and welcome to our community.